I got a new job recently. I haven't been well rested. I needed some sleep. So I asked, hey, can you guys go to the guest bedroom upstairs? I knew he was going to get her ready and...
Sorry. Okay, so, you needed some good sleep. So was it about 11 o'clock?
Yeah. I sent them upstairs, and I went to bed.
Okay. And that was about 11?
Yeah.
So in this video, I wanted to address the conundrum that we all have, and that is, did Jen know what Stearns was doing with her daughter? Now, it is a conundrum, because Jen claims that she had no idea. And you have all those people around Jen who claim that they would have never thought that would happen with Stearns, that he was a father figure, that they would never have imagined it. Of course, they weren't in the household with Jen and Maddie, aside from one person. And there is one particular sound clip in here that I have included from one of the housemates. But we're led to believe that Jen didn't have even the slightest inkling. Now, this is not entirely implausible. You do hear stories of women who are just so hoodwinked by their partners that they don't realise that this kind of thing is going on. You also hear of situations where perhaps they suspect it, but they don't want to confront their partner, or they suspect it or they know, but they don't want to lose the relationship with their partner, so they sacrifice their child, essentially. It could be any one of these things. Now, most of us have just been amazed by the fact that this woman could send her 13-year-old daughter upstairs to sleep with a 37-year-old man and not have any concerns about it. It just seems unnatural. It seems so very wrong. And yet, according to Jen, she didn't think it was a problem because apparently Stearns was like a father to Maddie. Well, I can tell you this. I never, ever would have slept in the same bedroom as my father, as my biological father, as a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old child. What parent would ever do that? And this guy wasn't even her biological father. So many of us are just still trying to wrap our heads around this and questioning why Jen hasn't been charged for this act of gross negligence. If you look at Florida laws with regards to child abuse, child negligence, this is definitely covered. She has broken the law here, and she should be charged, regardless of whether or not she actually knew. But the question is, did she know? So in this video, I'm going to go through a number of clips that I've pulled from various interviews. There are so many things that she said that make you stop and wonder, how can she apparently be so alert and yet so oblivious? Now, I do need to give a huge shout out to two creators who have done all the hard yards and did the FOIA requests, got the audio out. So I'm using audio from the Docket and from Hughes. So huge shout out to both those creators. Your hard work and your dedication is appreciated. heaps. Now, before I jump into the audio that I've got, I do want to mention one piece of audio that I haven't been able to find again. I'm pretty certain it's in one of Jen's interviews, and it's an audio where she talks about her concerns when Maddie went to visit her father. So in that audio, and it's one that I heard a while back, so correct me if I get it wrong, but the gist of it was that she was concerned about Maddie travelling to visit her father because she was concerned about the issue of male predators. And one of the things that she raised was her concerns about someone filming Maddie from under a door. Now, that in particular stands out because we know that that is something that Stearns actually did to Jennifer's flatmate. So I found that particularly interesting that she would mention something like that. And when the interviewing officer asked her, why would you come up with something like that, she said, because I'd heard about it occurring on a plane. So maybe it is just a coincidence, but it is something that to me was a little concerning given Stearns' behaviour. So I did want to highlight that one, but without the audio. So there's one instance already where she's talking about her concerns about male predators when she sends her child to spend time with her biological father. One instance of her showing that she is aware of things that can happen to young girls, and yet still no thoughts about it when it comes to Seven Stearns. So let's listen to the other pieces of audio that I've collected, and they're not necessarily in order. In terms of interviews with Jen about the whole narrative of her sending Maddie and Stearns up to sleep together, I've only included one more clip of that. There's plenty more, but I think we've heard that so many times, and I think it is so triggering that I don't think I'm going to include more than one other example of that. So let's jump in.
The dynamic between you three. I know you told me that sometimes you and her would sleep in the bed.
Yeah.
Sometimes the three of you would sleep in the bed. And then sometimes you would send him and her to a bedroom so you could get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
How long has that been going on?
Okay, so
It bugs me when she pauses like this, because to me that's evasion. She has to know the answer to this question. But I think in her head she realises that what she's talking about is something that is wrong. So she's pausing to come up with the best answer that she can think of. To me, this is evasion. This is not her being uncertain and trying to figure out what the actual answer is.
I'm going to say back in June. It was primarily the three of us sleeping in bed together all the time.
And why? How did that start?
Maddie has always slept in the bed with me.
Mm-hmm.
She's always slept in my room. Only when we lived in that apartment in Northport did she have her own bedroom, and we could afford for her to have her own room. So that was the only time she's actually had her own room. Here, she's always shared a room with me. When she was a baby, she had her own bedroom here for a few years. But once she got older and we started having roommates and all that stuff, she started just staying with me in my bedroom.
I have so many issues with that. But for the context of this video, the main issue I have is this. If you happen to be in a position where for some reason your almost teenage daughter is sharing a bed with you, and you're too useless, and I'm going to say that, to actually get your daughter to sleep in her own bed, or you're too useless to fork out the money to rent a room so that your daughter can have her own bedroom, then you shouldn't be bringing a male partner into your house. That is where things started to go wrong. It's not just about her sending Maddie off to sleep with her now ex-boyfriend. It's about her bringing a sexual partner into the house and bringing him into her bed when she had her own daughter in her bed. You only have your children for so many years until they grow up, they become adults, and they head off and they get their own life. If you are a single parent, sure, you have needs, but you've got to prioritise your child's needs. It was just so wrong for her to be bringing a partner into the same bed with her daughter. And surely any person with half a brain cell would be able to figure that out.
Stefan, during the times that we did live with Stefan, it would be the three of us in this bed down here, down in the master bedroom. It wasn't until June of last year that we had broken up, and I said, okay, I don't want to sleep in the same bed with you. Please move upstairs. Mm-hmm. And he moved upstairs. At this point, Maddie pretty much slept with me all the time. I think I can count maybe on one hand how many times she's gone upstairs to sleep with him alone, because I wasn't comfortable with it. I was like, no, it doesn't look right. Like, it just doesn't seem right. Like, I'm not comfortable with it. Maddie, you got to sleep with me. Now,
what parent says, oh, it doesn't look like right, it doesn't feel right, and then still allows it to happen? To me, this says that her gut instincts were telling her that there was something terribly wrong here, and yet she still allowed it to happen. She claims she wasn't comfortable with it. Well, if you weren't comfortable with it, you are responsible for your child's welfare. So you should not have been allowing it to continue.
I've told them that. But there were times that they'd beg for sleepovers, like, please, we just want to stay up late watching movies. And I would be too tired to stay up late, so I would say, fine, go ahead and do it, but just this once, like...
When did you start becoming comfortable with it?
I don't know if I was ever comfortable with it.
But you told them to go Sunday night to go sleep together.
I did. That was a selfish move on my part. It's because I wanted a good night's sleep. I didn't want her kicking me or rolling into me or waking me up, or to hear her alarm so that it woke me up. I wanted to keep sleeping until I needed to sleep, because I just had not, with my training schedule, I have not had a good night's sleep. My medication was out of whack. I was feeling funny and not like myself, and I knew that I needed another night's sleep and my medication in my body, like, ASAP, so I needed to go to bed. So I wasn't even comfortable sending her that night, but I just did it for my own selfish reasons.
So if a person is saying they're not comfortable with their child sleeping in a room with their 37-year-old ex-boyfriend, but they turn around and they're the ones who instigate it happening, I have a huge problem with that. To me, that says either she was entirely comfortable with it, but she just doesn't want to admit because she knows that it was wrong, In which case, she must have had some inkling that there was something going on. The things that this woman is saying don't make sense to me at all.
I've always told him that my biggest fear is that this would turn into a Woody Allen situation where the stepdaughter or the dad grooms the child and the child turns 18 and ends up running away with him. I told him, like, that was my biggest fear and I don't ever want that happening. Like, you can't do that to me. Like,
why would you say that to him?
Because I never trusted. I grew up being told never trust a man.
So she's saying here that she's learned to never trust a man. She's also saying that she's really afraid of this whole Woody Allen situation happening. Of him grooming her daughter and them running off together. Now, given what she would have seen in terms of the pair of them hanging out, then what was she seeing? Is this woman so stupid? I mean, she is describing what was actually going on with her daughter, which to me says that even on some level, she had to have known what was going on. So for her to be saying something like this, and then on the other hand, saying, well, I just sent them off to sleep together because I needed a good night's sleep. It just is such a contradiction. This woman constantly contradicts herself. There's lies in what she is saying. I don't know what is a lie and what is the truth, but the fact that these things are polar opposites says that she is really either not being honest with herself or she is not being honest with investigators.
My mom put that in my body. Never trust a man. And, like, I did not completely 100% trust the man, but in my, like, the logic in my head was saying, you know, he's been in your life for 7 years. Nothing's happened. He hasn't shown you anything that he's weird or that he's done or that he's interested in her or said anything about her body or talked to her about her in any specific way that, like, freaked me out. He's never said anything like that or shown me any of those signs. So I thought I could trust him, that he was safe, that he was a good guy and that he was taking care of my baby and loved her the way I loved her, but I was wrong.
So she thinks he loved her daughter the way that she loved her. It's just ridiculous to me. Now here's the thing. If she is as wary of men as she claims, then wouldn't you automatically be super cautious about things like allowing a 37-year-old male, access to your child without supervision in his own bedroom? The way she's speaking makes it sound like she was ultra careful or ultra concerned about the possibilities of things happening to Maddie. And yet her actions say the complete opposite. Now, the other problem I have with this is if it was something that was so much on her mind, was there never any conversation between her and Maddie about what is appropriate behaviour with men? Because surely if she was that anxious, surely she would be wanting to protect her child, and in doing so would be trying to find ways to make sure that her child understands what is inappropriate behaviour. I just cannot understand the difference here between what she's telling detectives and what she was actually allowing to happen.
Did she ever have sleepovers? Like have friends come over and sleep over?
Slumber parties, no.
Did she ever go and attend any?
No.
Is there any particular reason? I mean, she's a 12-year-old girl on the cusp of being 13.
Yeah, I've been very uncomfortable with sleepovers just because I know what can happen. anything can happen in a sleepover.
Well, then you can be the host house like we kind of were. You never hosted any sleepovers for her friends?
For her friends, no.
Did she ask about it?
Yeah, she did ask.
Was it probably a source of contention or arguments?
It was, I guess what was the source of argument was her, and she wanted to really sleep over her best friend's house, and I just kept saying, no, you never know what could happen. I don't know the dad, I don't know the brother, I don't know anybody there. Like, I don't know what can happen to you. So, just afraid of her getting assaulted.
Okay.
Again, apparently she is so concerned about male predators that she would not allow her daughter to have a sleepover at a friend's place. And yet she was allowing Stearns all this access to her daughter. What planet is this woman from?
At any point, did you ever see Stefan alone with Maddie?
There was only one time where I had sent a message to Jen. I want to say I couldn't sleep. I was going to the gym and they were playing Atari. Like, I heard them playing Atari, and the door was like partially closed. And I texted Jen. I was like, hey, I just want to make sure you're okay with this, because, you know, I grew up in a very different household. Like, my dad doesn't play, so that's just the way I was raised. So I sent her a message. I was like, hey, are you good with this? Like, are you okay with her being in his room?
So this is the room upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, those were around the time that they were broken up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say.
And what did Jen say?
I mean, I can pull it up, but I'm pretty sure it was thank you, friend, you're good.
So this woman is supposedly hyper-vigilant about the possibility of predators around her child. And then one of her roommates, someone who she has known for a very long time, because this roommate was best friends with Jen's sister, and she actually said to Jen, are you okay with this? She witnessed Stearns. Jen wasn't even in the house. So Stearns was in that upstairs bedroom with Maddie with the door mostly closed. Jen has someone asking her, are you okay with this? Now that should make someone question, well, why are they asking me, are you okay with this? If she's so stupid that she's not aware of the problems with allowing that to happen, surely when you get a message like that, there's going to be some self-reflection. You stop and you question, well, okay, hang on, this person sees this as a problem. Is it a problem? But no, not for Jen. There's no self-reflection there. It's your good friend. Now, some people have said, well, you know, she's just acknowledging thanks for looking out for me. But at the end of the day, that acknowledgement is saying, well, thanks for telling me this. Essentially, mind your own business. I'm fine with it, so shut up. And I know she didn't say it in that many words, but essentially that's what the message meant. Because it didn't change. She didn't change anything after that. She didn't do any self-reflection and say, wow, if other people are concerned about this, perhaps I should be concerned about it too. No, instead she continues to not only allow her daughter to share a bed with her partner or her ex-partner, but she even sends them off herself. Oh, I want a good night's sleep, so I want you two to go and share a bed. This one audio was one of the more concerning things for me. When you see things through someone else's lens, that should prompt self-reflection. Why was there no change?
But yeah, it doesn't sound like you've ever had any concerns about Stefan. You know him really well, and you've never seen anything wrong with each other, right?
No. If anything, like, for the first few years, I was hypervigilant as hell because I was just like, never trust a man. I don't care who it is, never trust anyone, not even my dad, right? Like, never
I
trust
agree with you.
anyone. Sleepovers, and I'm like, no, absolutely not, because I have no control and something could really happen.
Yeah, it's a dangerous world.
Yeah, so I was very vigilant for the first few years of how he would interact with her and what he would do, and I would question if anything was weird, but nothing ever was truly weird.
Can I just point out what she just said there? She said, I would question if anything was weird, but nothing was ever truly weird. To me, that says that there were questionable things, but it seems like she brushed them off. She decided they weren't truly weird. They weren't weird enough for her to be concerned. That is the way I take that. That is my interpretation of that. When you say something is not truly something, that means it's, not on this high level here. It's only a minor thing. So there were signs there that she's clearly ignored.
Just like, okay. I even had a rule for the longest time, for sleepovers with him, as in, if he were to sleep in the guest bedroom upstairs, and I would say, no, you guys can hang out and do whatever, but you're sleeping with me.
Understandable.
Just because even if I've known her for 7 years, the idea of course it would be weird anyone out, a little girl sleeping with a man that's not her dad. It sounds weird, but so I haven't I trusted him enough to let that even happen that night, you know?
Yeah. I mean, is it common? Because I know you said you would never let him in the past, but is it common to let her sleep up with him or let them spend a lot of time alone together?
I think I'm gonna say I've let them sleep together less than what I can count on these two hands.
Okay.
Not much. But a lot of the times it was just the three of us sleeping together in my bed too. But that got uncomfortable as hell too, right?
Sorry about that particular audio. That was an interview done while they were in a vehicle. But, she's just said, well, less than I can count on my two hands. So she's admitting that obviously somewhere between 5 and 10 times, and let's be real, she's probably underestimating because she doesn't want to make herself look bad. So she's saying that she has allowed them to sleep together somewhere between 5 and 10 times. Now, all these responses with law enforcement, you can tell from the way that she's talking about it that she knows that what she was doing was wrong. She knows that it wasn't right to allow her child to sleep with a grown-ass man that wasn't even her child's father. And that's irrelevant because a 12-year-old shouldn't even sleep with her own father. So she is so defensive throughout this, which to me says that she knows it was an issue. She knows it was the wrong thing. This from a woman who has said that she is concerned about predators, who has said that she doesn't trust men. She's contradicting herself. There is something seriously wrong with this woman.
And once he moved up to bedroom 4, were there instances where Madeline would sleep alone upstairs with him?
I'm gonna say
I want you to think carefully before you answer, because obviously we've gone through your phone and we've seen all the conversations that you've had with Stefan. So it's clear that that's occurring. So I'm giving you the chance to answer the question.
yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how many times it's happened.
Okay. Why are you allowing that to occur?
I saw Stephen as someone that I completely trusted with my life, my child's life. I thought he had cared for her as a father would. He had been in her life for more than half of it, playing the father role. I thought he cared for her the way I did.
So that brings us to the end of the audio clips that I'm going to share with you today. And you can see this woman on one hand is talking about how she's aware of the problem of predators and young girls, how she doesn't trust men, how she was hyper vigilant at first when she first started getting together with Stearns. You hear her say that she didn't think something was truly weird. In other words, there were signs that things weren't right. This woman has basically stuck her head in the sand. She's been concerned about herself from the beginning and really had basically seen what she wanted to see whenever it suits her. In other words, wanted a good night's sleep? Okay, well, even though I'm so worried about predators, I'm going to send my 13-year-old daughter upstairs to sleep with a 37-year-old male. I just think that when it comes to this woman, there are far too many inconsistencies, and I just find it inconceivable that someone can be so aware of the issues of predators, male predators, and still serve up their daughter like the way she did. Thanks for listening. Please leave a comment below, hit the like button, and if you're new, please subscribe.